Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, colleagues, good morning to our friends on the other side of the Atlantic, and good afternoon to everyone here in Europe. It's a great pleasure to deliver this special address at the S&P Global Platts Americas Petroleum and Energy Conference. I would like to thank the organizers for this kind invitation, and to all those who have taken time out from their busy schedules to listen in today. I have been asked to speak about the pursuit of global multilateralism to help drive the global energy transition. It is a topic very close to my heart and central to the organization that I humbly lead as Secretary General. Multilateralism has a long history, but it has perhaps never been more important to the world as we look, build, and shape today's architecture for tomorrow. It will be vital for the energy transition, which is both a massive challenge and an enormous opportunity in the decades ahead. To put it simply, we need to mold multilateralism and the energy transition into a form that delivers for each and every person on this planet. For OPEC, what has been clear since it was founded back in Baghdad, Iraq, in September 1960, is the value placed on ever-broadening dialogue and cooperation. As an intergovernmental organization, we have always been a proud member of the multilateral system. It is integral to our existence and central to our raison d'etre. The founder members of OPEC acted in strict accordance with UN principles and purposes in establishing OPEC, and the very first resolution of the fledgling organization put dialogue front and center. Over the decades, this has expanded far and wide. Today, we have established productive dialogues with other international organizations, such as the International Energy Agency, the International Energy Forum, the Gas Exporting Countries Forum, and cooperate and hold talks with the G20, the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, and various United Nations entities. There are also a variety of constructive dialogues with major oil consumers and producers, such as the European Union, India, China, the Russian Federation, as well as with a number of U.S. energy industry stakeholders. These relationships were particularly vital in the year 2020, in the face of the colossal impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic, something I will return to later. It all underscores how OPEC is now an established part of the international energy community and the multilateral system. In this regard, an outstanding example of the multilateral approach can be viewed through the prism of the Declaration of Cooperation, now in its fifth year, which has brought together for the first time 23 oil-producing nations to help return balance to the market and achieve a sustainable stability in the interest of both producers and consumers. It has helped the industry traverse two historic downturns. It has ushered in a new era in global energy cooperation. Back at the start of 2017, the global focus of the Declaration of Cooperation was on returning balance and stability to the oil market in the aftermath of the devastating 2014-2016 oil industry downturn. The downturn had brought the industry to its knees. Nearly 500,000 people lost their jobs. An estimated $1 trillion in investments were either frozen or deferred. A record number of companies filed for bankruptcy. And by July 2016, the OECD commercial stock overhang had soared to a record high of about 403 million barrels over the 5-year industry average. Over the subsequent 3 years, from 2017 to 2019, the diligent and coordinated response through voluntary production adjustment decisions taken by the Declaration of Cooperation partners helped rebalance the market, restore stability, and revive the industry. When the year turned from 2019 to 2020, there was a great deal of optimism for the oil market in the coming 12 months, not only for the oil market, the global economy as well. By March, however, the COVID-19 pandemic had pervaded almost every aspect of our daily lives, with widespread lockdowns, economies in major distress, and many businesses shuttered in. In terms of the oil and gas industry, every producer was impacted. No one was immune. The Declaration of Cooperation had to again stand up and be counted. Action was needed. An act we did with the largest and longest production adjustments in the history of our organization. The Declaration of Cooperation and the oil industry agreed on 12th of April 2020 to help counter the massive oil demand decline, and at times was above 20 million barrels a day in the month of April. The phased reductions in the adjustment levels over a 2-year period demonstrated the full commitment of all participants, a common goal. I am sure each and every one of us can recall the dire situation the industry was in, which was most dramatically illustrated on 20th of April 2020 when the price of WTI went negative. It was a visceral day and one often described as Black Monday. It was a time when the industry faced a potential crude oversupply of nearly 1.3 billion barrels. There were even deep concerns that some storage hubs could actually reach tank tops. Thankfully, this never came to pass, in part due to the decisive actions of the partners of the Declaration of Cooperation. Since then, the partners have shown great courage and flexibility and have adopted, as and when necessary, to changing market dynamics, particularly with the post-summer advent of second and third waves of COVID-19. We have never been complacent. It has been one step at a time, guided by the data and analysis, and robustly supported by the strong multilateral process we have in place. Another pivotal outcome of the April 2020 meetings has been the broader encouragement and support that the Declaration of Cooperation participants have received. This came from the very highest levels of government, from the G20, and from the largest global oil producers, including Norway, the United States, Canada, as well as many other producers and consumers. This was further built on with OPEC comparing notes with U.S. independence, a relationship that has blossomed since we first met in Houston in 2017. Other producing nations such as Norway, Colombia, and Brazil, major consumers such as China, India, and the European Union, and select energy policymakers and experts from international institutions, consulting firms, the oil industry, the financial community, and think tanks from around the world. There was an acknowledgement of our mutual interdependence and the benefits of working together to return confidence and stability to the global oil market. The Declaration of Cooperation was at times a polestar for the oil market during some of the dark days of 2020, a multilateral approach helping guide the industry through stormy waters. We also realize our work is not done. We have our eyes firmly fixed on 2021. it is clear the recovery has been fragile and uncertainties remain, particularly in terms of the pandemic. Vaccines offer some much-needed light at the end of the tunnel, but the ever-increasing number of COVID-19 cases and, sadly, human losses, as well as renewed lockdowns, are a harsh reminder of how delicate the situation remains. Nonetheless, we are cautiously optimistic for the global economic rebound in 2021 and for significant oil demand growth. But we will continue to take a month-by-month approach to assessing market conditions and stand ready to take any necessary actions through the Declaration of Cooperation Partners.